Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today, we have Field Mcconnell in the house for another live Q&A, everybody. So if you have questions for Field, please feel free to raise your hand, and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Or if you can't speak, there's a post on the wall that shows where you can put your questions underneath the comment area. And also, to everyone, please, if you request a mic, and you want to ask Field your question, please be mindful of our time, everybody. Field gives us 90 minutes of his time every Monday. A lot of times I open up the mics. I understand. Sometimes people try to figure it out. I get it. But if I'll call on you 3 times. After the third time, I'm going to just mute your mic back up because, again, I got to move on to the next question. So please be mindful of that and respectful of our time because, again, I have other podcasts to do and just other stuff to do as well as does Field. He tells you all the time he works 18 hours out of the day. So we are busy people. So if you just don't mind, please be mindful of that. Because like I said, I will call on you 3 times and then I will mute your mic back up and call on the next person. Also to everybody, again, I'm going to say it and I'm going to say it louder than ever. Be careful who you follow, what you listen to, and what you're putting in your mind. I'm telling you guys, it's a thing. I don't just say that because I'm bored. It is a thing. It's getting crazy out there. Some of these stories I'm getting are just wild. So, remember, misinformation, disinformation is key when you're at war, right? We know that this was going to happen, right? But again, when you see that, you got to use your discernment, everybody. So for those people out there that are so confused about the Bibi Netanyahu and Trump relationship, don't forget the art of war. We are in war, everybody. Appear weak when you are strong. Never interfere with your enemy when he is destroying himself. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. And everybody, Trump has to look neutral in what he says, what he does. He can't look as if he's going against the enemy because guess what? If you do, guess what happens? There's your mass casualties and blood in the streets. And that's why he's had to do it. We always hear it had to be done this way, right? We caught them all. We have it all. That is a true and valid thing. If you didn't watch Nino, Josh Reed, and Alpha Warrior on their podcast on, I believe it's Saturday or Sunday, you need to watch it. It's on the board. It is spot on. It is to the point detail of what is happening. So everybody have faith. We are in good hands, but of course, the enemy's not going to see that, right? We know because of all the research that we're doing and the people we're talking to. And I'm going to tell you this. Another person that you need to follow is Flynn. Whatever your thoughts about Flynn are, that's your opinion, right? But follow Flynn. He's putting stuff out there. He's letting it. He's another one talking to us, and it's absolutely just it's cool to see because we've been trying to figure this out for so long, and they're really talking to us and telling us without telling us. But everybody, the Netanyahu Bibi relationship is strategic and it's power moves. Okay, so it's like we always hear, Trump is playing 5D chess, and he's 1,000 steps ahead of these people all the time. So have some faith, everybody. Don't listen to that. Oh, well, Trump's compromised, this, that, and the other. Bullshit, everybody. Bullshit. That shit you don't need to listen to. Get the hell out of those chats. Stop listening to those people. Don't follow those people because it's bullshit. And I'm telling you, they're going to continue, and it's going to get more intense with the lies, the propaganda, the misinformation, disinformation. Kick in your discernment, everybody, because we are truly in good hands. Will we see some stuff? Rockiness, yeah, but we've known that. But that's why I always say, head on a swivel, pay attention to where you're going, know your surroundings, don't put yourself in precarious situations. If it doesn't feel right, don't go. So I'm telling you, everybody, if you listen to just one person, listen to Trump. But if you want to listen to two, listen to Trump and Field. If you want to listen to three, then you can come over here to the Revival of America and you can listen to us because we're putting out good information and we are being listened to in over 100 countries. So I'm just letting you know, everybody, we're in good hands. Have faith. Again, eyes on God, because at the end of the day, this war's already done. He's already won it, and he is in control. So with that being listened to in over 100 countries, everybody go follow us on the podcast host or any of the social medias, because if you can't listen to it on the Rumble page or any other location, then go check us out on these other locations. But you may not even have Rumble, so that's fine. So go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. The social medias are Jenny Jareed Facebook at Jenny_Jareed X, at J Jareed Rumble, at J Jareed True Social, at J Jareed Instagram, The Revival of America right here on Telegram, The Revival of America on YouTube. And I am over on TikTok, but I really honestly, I don't really use TikTok a lot. Maybe someday I'll get over there, but I just forget about it. So I'm tired of making excuses. I'll just be honest with you. I don't use it really like I should, but I kind of forget about it. So one day I'll get over there and be more consistent. Um, Also, too, guys, check out the website, therevivalofamerica.com. You can see Field's page over there with his books. John Baxter has a page, Rick Anson from Brain IQ Health, Carrie Kasem. A little bit about me, my merch store's over there. There's a page about the children. So it's a work in progress. It's growing as we grow. And the Revival of America, everybody, and I want to say thank you to all of you, is growing pretty quickly, significantly. And I just want to say thank you to all of you guys, because without you, Revival America wouldn't be. So I want to give you guys that shout out and say thank you to my audience. You guys are amazing, and I love you all. So thank you for that. And then last but not least, everybody, if you have a story or a journey to tell, please feel free to send your submissions to troasubmissions@yahoo.com. This way we can separate my personal emails from the submissions. Give me a synopsis of your story. We'll read through it. We vet these because unfortunately, everybody, we do get the other shysters out there that just want to get on a podcast. So once we feel like it's legit, we'll reach out to you via email and get you guys scheduled for a show. Bear with me. Like I said, I do have a day gig, so that takes precedence for the podcast, but I'm doing my best, and just hang tight with me, everybody. And then I think, what else was I going to say? I think that's it. Oh, no, my personal email, everybody. If you have a personal question for me, or you want to get in touch with John Baxter and his staff, or looking to get Field's books, whatever it may be, email me at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. This way I can answer, respond to you. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, just because I don't see all of my DMs from Facebook, Instagram, all of my social medias. It's a lot to keep up with because I get a lot every day, plus my email. So just email me over there at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And with that, everybody, Field's in the house, so I am not going to take up any more of his time. But I want to say hello, Field. How are you?
I'm just fine, Jenny. Thank you for allowing me to appear on your podcast. And I wish you great success. And I'm observing great success as you've got yourself established in 100 countries. So you should be very proud of yourself, Jenny Jareed.
Well, I want to say thank you to you, Field, too, because it's because of the audience, not just because of the audience, but because of the guests as well. So you've been a huge part of the show, and will continue to be as long as you want to be. So I want to say thank you to you for always coming here on Monday, gracing us all with your amazing stories, presence, and we're glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm here too. And the weather up here in Wisconsin today is lovely. Um, but we had a lot of rain overnight, and but God's very faithful, isn't he? He's been running the world since the world began, and I don't think, as long as we have God in our minds and God in our hearts, I don't think we need to worry about what the enemies might bring. And the enemies are many, and also they're here comes the humor, so hang on. Um, our enemies are busy, but they're flaccid.
Yeah, yes, they are. I agree with that, Field. Well, speaking of the enemy, so let's have your take on the whole Bibi Netanyahu and Trump situation. You probably heard me as you came in talk about it. How everybody's saying Trump's compromised and all this. He's the puppet of Bibi, which is just, it's comical for me to hear that bullshit, because I can't believe people really say that, because they're not looking deeper into what really is going on, right? The concept of war and the art of war and all that stuff is just not in the minds of a lot of people. So do you want to maybe give your take on a little bit of what's going on in that realm?
Well, I would if I was not so ignorant of it, but the I don't I don't know how many Americans or even Western Europeans or even citizens of the world are aware of the history of Israel. And I don't like to criticize what I don't understand, but I do understand how, when, and why Israel was created by something called the Balfour. I think of it as the Balfour Doctrine, but others have corrected me and said, no, it's the Balfour something else.
Declaration.
But thank you. Thank you very much. You might be one of the people that corrects me the most accurately. And for that, no, I appreciate that. I don't want to mislead anybody because you said the key word in your introduction, bullshit. There's so much bullshit out there. If we didn't have windshield wipers, we couldn't see where we're going. But fortunately, due to people like you, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm kissing your rear, but the point is, not very many people have not only the platform, but the knowledge to steer all of us in the correct direction. And that's quite a responsibility. And Jenny, I think you handle it very well. Um, because when you or anyone else is talking to 100 nations, there's a lot of responsibility there. And that, I respect you, obviously, because I'm here every Monday, and I will be until you tell me, someday you might say, Field, uh, next Monday you're not on. And if you say that to me, Jenny, I'll know what that means and I will respect it. But in the meantime, um, I really enjoy participating in the Jenny JERREAD podcast. And what I like most, and this is going to sound like I'm reaching out to the audience in a form of pursuit, but what I like about your platform is I don't come in here with any preconceived notion. I come in here with an open mind and I learn from the questions from the chat room or the audience, whatever you want to call it. Um, and so maybe today we can just, unless you have something significant you want to talk about, and I know you just talked about what's that guy from Israel? Don't even tell me, I'm kidding. The guy from Israel and Trump. If my advice to anybody in the world that thinks they have power, my advice would be don't underestimate Donald John Trump. He's not here as a politician. He's not here as an elected official only. He's not here as a passerby. He's here as a man of God. And if you're working for God, you are pretty well guaranteed success. And I'm I don't know if Donald Trump or his wife Melania have ever heard my name, but I'm nowhere near as significant as he is. And yet I know that God has put me on my path and I haven't gotten lost on the way. And I'm still doing what I'm doing, what God wants me to do, and it's quite simple. It's called Expose Evil, and it's written in Ephesians 5:11. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Fields. And everybody, one thing I want to clarify, a lot of people don't realize this either, is that Israel, there's the state nation, right? The Balfour Declaration that the Rothschilds created. Then there's the Israeli people, right? So people get that misconstrued when people are always hating on, when they say the Jews or the Israelis or whatever, everybody's thinking, well, some may be hating on the people, but others may be hating on the state. That's the government of Netanyahu, right? The evil that's going on over there. So there's a difference between that. So I think everybody needs to kind of understand that. And I'm not saying you guys don't do here, but unfortunately, a lot of people out there don't. And that's where a lot of this misconception comes in, and a lot of this disinformation, misinformation comes in. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that since we were talking about Netanyahu. Also, Field, you'll be here, and anytime, everybody, just so you know, if Field's not here on a Monday or any of my guests, I have to reschedule them or push them to the following week, it's because, I've got stuff I've got to do with my day gig. So that's typically why that happens. So I just want to give you guys that heads up. All right, everybody. So I guess, Field, you want to just go into some Q&A? Is that what you would like to do?
Yes, I think that's the entire beauty of your show is the quality of the listeners and the substance of their questions. And that's how I learn. I mean, I learn from the questions. I don't preach to the people because I think I'm a know-it-all. I know one thing. I know God's in charge. I know a second thing. I know Donald Trump is a mastermind. And I know a third thing, that Jenny has a lovely podcast. And with those three things, I think it positions me well just to go to questions so I can learn from your chat room. So yes, Jenny, let's go to Q&A whenever you're ready.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, everybody, if you guys have a question for Field, please start raising your hand. Class Clown, you were here, now you're gone. I unmuted your mic, so if you're still here, come back up. I will unmute your mic. Also, too, for those of you that have asked me regarding Field's books, I did put the information on the wall. So if you have further questions, email me, and then I can respond to you that way at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. So yeah, go ahead, everybody. I don't see any questions. Let me see here in the comments. No questions here. No hands are raised. That's a shock. All right, everybody, no questions. So Field, talk about until we get some hands raised. Go ahead and how was your birthday? You had a birthday last week. What did you do?
I got older. When I woke up on October 2nd of this year, I was 75, but at about 8:02 a.m., I became 76. And from my perspective, every day is a blessing from who? From God. If God didn't want me to get to 76, I wouldn't be here today. But, for whatever reason, God showers me with kindness. And, I honestly don't understand why. Part of it is I know that I'm trying to do God's work here on earth. And that's written about in Psalm 94:16, where God's up in heaven looking down on Sodom and Gomorrah. And he's wondering, who on earth can take on these evildoers for me, meaning God? And who on earth can defeat these bad people? And after I read that about 5 times one night in my home office, I was by myself. And, I lived by myself since my wife died and my children are grown. And does that please me? No, it's not. It's really a problem for me. I'm going to ask you a question, Jenny, and I think you'll know the answer, but if not, don't be ashamed. I'll give you the answer. Do you know what seasonal adjustment disorder is?
No.
Oh, that's good, because now I can tell you. Okay, seasonal adjustment disorder, the initials spell SAD, which means sad, right?
Yes.
Yeah, SAD is sad. And as fall goes into winter, those of us, and I'm saying I'm one of them, those of us with seasonal adjustment disorder have difficulty with sadness. And I think in my case, I admit to being sad, uh, but my rationale for being sad is I was married to a woman named Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell for 5.5 years. And yet at age 55, she died of thyroid cancer. And in the last week, I've had some discovery. It's not like I went looking for it, it dropped in my lap. But I found out two of the contributors to thyroid cancer are cell phones and 5G and, electromagnetic influences on human bodies. And, I hope that Denise had died of natural causes, but I'm starting to doubt that. And if anybody thinks I'm a wimp, yeah, okay, I'll take that. Call me a wimp if missing your wife. And not every male is lucky enough or fortunate enough, or maybe the correct word is blessed. I don't think too many males are blessed by having a wife as kind uh, as Denise Irene Clark was before she became Denise Irene Clark McConnell. And I'm not ashamed to say I miss her greatly. So over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Fields, and we'll be looking forward to that POW book that you're going to be writing, hopefully out in time for the holidays. All right, we got a couple hands here. Joy, to you today. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello, Field, and thank you for hosting this. It's wonderful. I guess what I struggle with sometimes is there's two people I fully respect in this whole thing. That one is you, and if you look on my little picture on mine, there's a gravesite, and that is William Cooper, because I visited his his site. And Field, you've been in my heart for years for different reasons, but I wanted to get your opinion and thoughts on kind of what I feel like. Sometimes I'm just part of a movie and we're pawns in this whole thing, because I see different things on the media, things that are happening, with Charlie, with 9/11, how we're fed so many lies. How how do you find a place where in this theater we're on, for lack of a better word, that how do you sort through what is what after a while? Because I feel like I'm just part of this ongoing movie that is playing us. And that's why I struggle sometimes is, are we being played by this administration? Are we being played by the last one? I don't want to believe that about this one because I see so many things happening, but I do struggle at times. So I appreciate hearing all the confidence that I hear from, many patriots in here. But that's a battle that I'm dealing with and wonder how you reconcile it, or do you not feel that way?
Well, I'm just a human, ma'am, and I'm 76. How old are you roughly?
Oh, I'm like right at I'm nipping at your heels, 75.
Oh, okay, good. Then I know I can talk to you like an adult. Um,
Well, it depends on the
what?
day.
No, it doesn't. You know, you your heart your heart and your mind are your heart and your mind every day, and that never changes. But what you're exposed to by the media every day can cause ups and downs and confusion. But see, the media, I don't believe, is our friends. I think it should be, but I don't think it has been much of my adult life. But those days are going to be over because God has taken control. And God sent a very special person whose name is Donald John Trump to America to lead us in the way of righteousness and the way of victory. And we are on our way. And I don't believe there's anything that can stop us. I mean, when you take a look at the military deployments around the world, America has the largest military. And, this is not like men in a locker room. It's not a matter of size matters, but the potency of the American military is such that really nobody can defeat us militarily. And any alliance, even, they'd have to have more than three countries, in my estimation, to come close to. And first of all, I'm not a military based snob. I've served in the military for 26 years. I'm fairly proud of that. I try not to take pride in anything because I think pride comes before a downfall, and I don't want to have a downfall, and I don't want to be a big shot. I have no official capacity, but I do recognize the brilliance of Donald John Trump. And one thing I might say that's different from a lot of people is I think that Donald John Trump has the benefit of a very strong woman that is supporting him, whatever that means. And I don't know what it means in their marriage. I know what it meant when I had Denise Irene Clark in my marriage. She strengthened me because she gave me something to live for and fight for. And, I don't fight fair. Um, some people are familiar with one of my favorite terms, which is TFer, and I won't say what that stands for because it's offensive, but it's also effective. Um, I think it's my opportunity and it's my call. And when I say call, I'm going to spell that CALL because I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about CULL. No, call. I think many of us in the world, not just the United States, but many of us are called to serve God and maybe even in an undercover operation. There's people who probably know me from the past who think that Field Mcconnell couldn't serve God. Well, we're not in the past anymore. We're in the present day, and I am serving God. And I love God, and for whatever reason, God loves me because He has blessed me so many times in so many big ways. I'm sort of overwhelmed with the blessings, but the greatest blessing I ever had died 5 years ago at age 55. And I haven't come to grips with that yet, but I will because God will sustain me and He will educate me and lead me to peace. And, in the meantime, your words, young lady, and I say young because you're less than 76, your words are very encouraging to me, and I have tears in my eyes because I know that I'm getting through to some people. And I, as far as your comment or question, whichever it was, I would not worry about things right now. I don't think it's time to worry. I think it's time to get ready to celebrate because God is in control and God is guiding the leader of our land, Donald John Trump. And I hope that this falls on friendly ears, not hostile ears. But when I say something nice about Donald John Trump, I'm saying the same thing nice about his wife, Melania. And, some people forget that she's from the Romanov family in Russia. And so what you have here is the confluence of Russia and America dominating the world power structure. And, Donald John Trump is a master of what he does, but Melania Trump is equally skilled at what she does, and her background leads her to have a great understanding of the um, issues involving international security. She knows from her family background that nothing is really secure because things can change. And in her case, for those who don't know, her grandmother and grandfather had, I think they had 5 children. Um, no, I think they had 7 children. But anybody can Google it. And I'm not trying to drive business towards Google. Google, yeah, that's close. Google. No, it's there's search engines where you can look and find facts. And I think that for many of us, there's nobody at this radio show right now that's not interested in facts or the truth. And that's what Jenny's platform brings to a
Yeah.
global audience.
Yeah, it really
Did
does.
somebody just say yes?
Yeah, I did. I'm still unmuted.
Oh, no,
So
no,
it's,
no. Thank you. No, I was just checking my hearing. But I think I think Jenny's platform is a good place to start your education
it's
if
one of
you're
the it's one of the only ones I listen to most of the time. But my education started way back in 2019. I came across one of your videos when you were speaking in, I believe you were in the UK
yes.
and at time, and you were speaking in a church basement. And I listened to
Okay.
that thing probably 20 times. And that, so I've been following you and realized and was there and praying for you behind the scenes with your wife and out. And then I knew you got so sick. And then I couldn't find you for years. And then I found you on this platform. And I hope that I will be able to connect. I shared a while back with you that I heard you speak, and you talked about if any young Marine was ever abused, that you wanted to know about it. And in
Yes.
that speech way back then. And so I wrote to Jenny a while back, but we'll connect sometime. But my phone number's in there. I'd love to talk to you about independently from that because I trust you with what's happened to my son. So
Okay. Now wait a minute.
that's a whole nother thing, but I appreciate your
Yeah.
reassurance on God being in control here. I mean,
God
I
is in
know that, and
control.
I'm very solid that way, but it slips through when I see what I feel like are games playing with our emotional heads on this, and it slips through sometimes like, why are these games being played? Because the truth will come out.
So, what I have to say on that, Joy, is it's not games. It's this is warfare. We are in war, and you can't give your enemy your next move. So I get it. It's tough. It really is tough. The emotional roller coaster. I get it, but I also get why they're having to do it this way because it's not just uh right versus left. This is God versus the devil. This is good versus evil, right? So they are
Yeah.
unwinding decades of pure evil. So it has to be strategic. And obviously in war, I'm sure, just like anything in life, there are setbacks, right? So you have to regroup, re-strategize, whatever it is. So it's this whole, however long people have been in this journey, it's been a mental boot camp. It really is. I tell my audience all the time, this is a mental boot camp for us to get prepared, prepare for water, gas, food, you know. They're mentally getting us ready for what is to come. And we are here now, everybody, everything that we have been talking about, researching, we are here. This is it. We are at, I believe we're coming up on the precipice, but this is what we've been geared up for. No differently than when you go to boot camp, you're in this training for war, you know, in the military. So that's what we are here for as well. Digital soldiers, whatever they want to call us, right? Keyboard warriors, that's where it is. It's the informational war. That's what this is. So yeah, it's a mind trick for sure, but it's definitely not games. We are at war, buddy. And I think
You know,
and I think once people realize that we are literally at war, it's just a different kind of war. We're not necessarily seeing it on the ground or in the air. It's for our psyche. It's a psychological war, and that can be sometimes the worst mental abuse ever, right? More than physical or anything like that. So I think everybody just kind of stay in that mindset. We are at war, and there are casualties of war, whether it be people getting injured or the unfortunate death. But that's why I tell you guys, you got to be careful. You got to know your surroundings, know your neighborhood, because I mean, look at these people that are just spawning off. It's almost like their time is now. So you're seeing all this stuff happen in Chicago. With are these the sleeper cells? These people that are going out and doing all the protests? I mean, there is just so much hate. I can't even imagine how people can feel so much hatred toward people, right? I mean, they're even calling now, some of these idiots out there calling now for people to start going after these ICE agents, kids. We can find them. We know where their schools are, this, that, and the other, and do harm to them. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? So this isn't normal, everybody. We have a lot of NPCs walking, you know, amongst us. So we got to be careful, everybody. We are at war, and this is it's a battle. It's a serious battle. So I
you
just
know,
say,
Jenny, I
hang in there,
really,
everybody. We're coming to the end of this.
I really appreciate you saying it and making my thinking switch on it. You know, I've heard that over these last, we're at war, but you articulated it, that my mind, because I was like playing mind games, and that was what was kind of stuck with me. And I've heard the thing about war, so to speak, but you resonated it in a way right now that makes me think so differently about the way that my mind was thinking about that, even though I've gone there and said, I know this is part of the art of war. But now it kind of comes together like, you know, we really are at war, and it is a spiritual war, and we know who wins it. We already knows whose head has been crushed. We just got to wait for that lethal blow, and we help make it, and God is in control.
And you
So
know,
I thank
and
you.
you're welcome. And you know, and that's why I always say in the beginning of my podcast, be careful what you listen to, what you're putting in your mind, and who you're following, because it's a thing. It's that psychological thing is a thing. And you know, it's just I do
I
believe this
mainly
is.
follow you and the people on your channel, but when you had Field on, when you started having Open with Field, that was like 5 or 6 years in the making to be able to talk to this man. And
Well,
thank you.
just know everybody that we are coming to the end of this. But remember, our work is just beginning on the other side of this. We got a lot of cleanup to do, but you know, we've been preparing for this, and it's here. So again, everybody, I can't tell you enough. Just be careful who you listen to. Seriously, what you're putting into your mind, because it is that spiritual war and that mind war. Yeah, that's where we're at. But you got to be mindful too, though. there are casualties of war and false flags or whatever it may be. People do get hurt, and that's why you gotta be careful, because unfortunately our world is not what maybe it used to be, and I don't even think our world has ever been what we maybe thought it was, because we've been lied to so much. But we're in a much different, much more evil space than we ever were ever in my
You're
lifetime.
right.
So
You're right. You're
thank you,
right.
Joy.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming up here. All right, Miss Cal, go ahead. Your mic's unmuted.
Hi. A couple things I wanted to say, and I want to ask Field a question. Yesterday, watching President Trump speak with the Navy, prior to him coming up, he had a few soldiers speaking, and I was really edified to hear this gentleman speak of extortion 17, because I never heard that term before I heard it from Field. And so it looks like to me they're bringing things back out in the public for people to hear it. President Trump also said today on his Truth channel that he believed that the holidays were going to be prosperous with prices being down. And I think it's what you, Jenny, usually say, that he tells us something when he's not telling us anything. So I wanted to ask Field, in his opinion, what does he think could be possibly maybe happen going into this week, into the next week? Does he see anything of relevance that we would all perk our ears up?
So real quickly, Phil, before you answer that, to your point, Cal, yes, he does tell us without directly telling us, because again, he can't you know, open himself up for that, right? That potentiality of the what ifs, right? So yes, listen to him, everybody. He is telling us without telling us. And General Flynn just put out a video. It's in the podcast with Alpha, Nino, and Josh, but basically kind of letting us know that what may be coming here, to your point, Cal, the next days, weeks, whatever, about Trump being fully insulated. We've seen that on the boards, the military coming in. It's like the destruction of the America and then the rebuilding of America. They describe that video pretty much to a T, the three of them on General Flynn's video. So definitely check out that podcast, guys. I highly recommend it. But go ahead, Field.
Well, I'm really moved to tears because the previous lady, Joy, mentioned something about a young Marine, which I think was her son. And now this conversation with Cal is very encouraging to me, because even though it came as a question, the answer to the question is the United States is more secure today than we've ever been since I was an adult. And I may not act like an adult, but I cry like an adult. And, just like many, many others in the United States and around the world. And see, I'm a global citizen. I'm not a snobby American. I've spent time in Kazakhstan for a year and a half, and I know that people are people no matter what color they are, no matter what faith or lack of faith they have, no matter their financial position. I mean, what is wrong with all of us that we can't just love each other and look beyond the adjectives? I mean, why should I care about people that are a different color than me? I don't care. I love them. I embrace them. But God has won this battle. This war is over. And for these two ladies, Joy and Cal, um, be calm, be secure, and just be patient. I mean, yeah, we are in good hands, and it'll become evident. But until it becomes evident and bulletproof, be patient. And I can't tell you how many tears I've cried thinking about these challenges that all of us have. Joy, Cal, myself, Jenny, we all face the same challenges, but how do we respond to that? Do we respond with weakness or resolve? I would suggest, from my perspective, and of course I'm an old geezer. I almost said the F word. I'm I'm old, but like I tell younger men, oh, you think you're going to beat me? Well, how many times do you think I've been beaten in 76 years? And then suddenly the younger guys just back off and say, well, if that guy made it to 76, I don't want to, fight with him, which is wise. Uh, but, God is a God of kindness, but he's also a God of justice. And God will give us what we earn. And so I want to join Jenny in saying we should all be careful of who we follow and be confident in who our um, co-workers are. And I feel like I'm one of Jenny's co-workers, and yet Jenny knows that when she's done with me, all she has to do is say, uh, I won't see you next week, Field. That's that's a very kind goodbye notice, and that'll come at some point. But in the meantime, I can see these hearts out there like Joy and Cal that need encouragement. And coming here, meaning coming to the Jenny platform, you're not just getting encouragement. More importantly, you're getting the truth. And in the Bible, and I think I don't want to embarrass myself, but by misquoting the Bible, but in the Bible it says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. If that's the only thing you ever read in the Bible, that's the only thing you ever need to know from the Bible. But I'm not trying to discourage people from reading the entire Bible. I've read it several times. But the truth is the truth. And I find it ironic that Trump and truth share the first three letters, TRU. And so I think we're living at a time that we're being blessed by God, that he's installed Donald John Trump as our leader. And all we have to do is believe in him and follow him. And that's what I do. Jenny, do you have any correction to what I just said?
No, I don't. Well said, Field.
Thank you. Well, maybe someday when I'm gone, and I've got a couple of ladies in my life that don't like it when I talk about my, frailty and the fact that I'm a living organism. And what happens to living organisms? They die. And I'm going to die someday, but I want to leave a footprint that gives people a sense of security. When they look at my footprints in the way I've lived my life and what I've been through, I want people, and I'm not going to say normies. I don't like that word. I don't know why normies want to be normies. Why don't you be educated? Why don't you be faithful? Why don't you be secure? And why don't you be knowledgeable? The knowledge is available. It's available right here at Jenny's podcast. She has a variety of speakers that speak the truth and can lead people that are willing to be led to being happy and being successful, being confident and being secure. And that might sound like I'm trying to advertise for Jenny. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to recognize Jenny's contribution to society around the world, 100 countries. And I used to, when I was younger, I used to be an airline pilot. Whoop-de-doo, who cares? And I used to be a fighter pilot that was in the defensive business, NORAD, North American Air Defense. And I was willing to risk my life and beat the shit out of anybody that came into the United States without an invitation. And I'm not talking about immigrants, I'm talking about aircraft. Uh, as far as I'm concerned, in my adult life, and I'm 76, so I've been an adult for a while, there's nobody that can destroy America. And so why should we as Americans allow us to destroy each other through a lack of faith? And a faith in what? Well, it depends on you. It depends on where you want to place your faith. I know where I've placed mine. I've placed my faith in God. That's capital G-O-D. And I'm very happy with my faith, and God has blessed me abundantly. And has God ever allowed something negative to happen in my life? Well, on December 30th of 2020, my young wife, beautiful lady from England, died. And here it is, 2025, and I haven't gotten over that yet. And maybe I never will. But what I will do until I die is I will fight the fight of good versus evil. And I don't fight fair. I fight to win, because God didn't make his warriors weak. He made us strong. He made us strong in resolve and strong in confidence. And are all of his warriors men? No, they're not. Some of his strongest warriors are women. And I'm a big proponent of women, because women can be mothers. Men can't be. And the greatest job in the universe is being a mother and bringing new life into the world and nurturing that new life, protecting that new life, and educating that new life in how to live their life. And so I don't know when Mother's Day is again. I've lost track, and I've got tears falling. But you know, I had a great mother, and she died in 2007. And do I miss her? Of course I do. Does she miss me? No, she doesn't, because she's up in heaven looking down at me right now. And she's probably being moved by what I'm saying. But when I say I respect my mother, I'm not a mommy's boy. I'm somebody that can say F you as quick as anyone and back it up. But I don't like doing that. That's just a reserve potential. I like saying, I love you, I respect you, and I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your lifestyle is. I don't care about all these things. I love you. And Jenny, does that make me weak?
No.
Thank you. Yeah, but anyway, after we had Joy and Cal, who's next? Are there any more hands in the air?
Yes. But real quickly, Cal, did that answer your question?
Well, he answered it by not answering it. He answered it this way to me, that patience is a virtue, and I know that, so be patient. And it is coming, and he tells us things at times when he can't tell us either, and I appreciate that.
So yes, patience definitely is a virtue. And in this journey here, everybody, patience. I say it all the time, and I know people sometimes don't like it, but that is the reality. You have to have patience. I know it's tough. I know a lot of people are struggling. But again, God will never give you any more than you can handle. So hang in there, everybody. We've come this far. We're not jumping off any ledge right now. I mean, we have come this far to when I see people going to the other side or giving up, I'm shaking my head in awe. Like, really? Like, do not do that. If you see people that are trying to do that, we are here, everybody. This is what we've been waiting for. So we've got to embrace it because we've been waiting for it. We've been talking about it. And here we're gonna be getting our vindications. We're gonna be getting where people finally I mean, a lot of people are coming to and seeing what we've been saying for a long time is coming to fruition. So hang tight, everybody. All right, D-Dog 1776, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, D-Dog. All right, this is what I'm talking about, guys. If you request a mic and you don't respond, I call on you 3 times, then I mute your mic because our time is valuable and Field gives us 90 minutes of his time. So one more time, D-Dog 1776, your mic is unmuted. All right, beep. Where's my buzzer? Go ahead, Grace. Your mic is unmuted.
Yes, hi Jenny, and thank you so much for all that you do in Field. God bless you. You're just such a wonderful soul, and I just have learned so much by listening to you. I just have two, I don't know if they're questions, but I want your take on two things. The first one, and I'll try to be brief as possible. The first one is I feel like Donald Trump is going around and undoing all of the federalization and incorporation of America. For instance, yesterday's display of the Navy. I feel like it's more than just going and celebrating our naval forces, although that is certainly a thing to do. I feel like he is returning these institutions back to the republic. And I just wanted your take on that. So let's start there. And then I have one more if I'm able. And if not, I understand. Thank
Oh,
you.
no, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead, Field.
Yeah, I'll address the first one, and I want to hear the second one. But when you use the verbiage that Donald Trump is eliminating or destroying or removing the corporations and the federal agencies or whatever exactly it was you said, he should, because corporations were not legal in America originally. And by the way, not to besmirch Joe Biden for being a dumb shit, but all the corporations were registered in the state of Delaware. How many of Jenny's listeners knew that before right now? But you can look it up. And corporations are not necessarily good for any country because they try to be superior to the laws of any country. And corporations are learning in the United States of America that Donald John Trump, as well as myself, understand the origination of corporations, the state in which they're registered in, and how inappropriate they are. They are not more important than individuals like Jenny or Cal or Joy or me. Uh, we all depend on each other. We don't need corporations. We don't need all these federal bureaucracies. What we need is proper and legitimate governance, and we're getting that under Trump. And whenever I say Trump, I'm talking about Donald J. Trump and his wife, Melania. They are a tandem, even though one of them is elected and one of them is not elected. Well, speaking of elections, some people would believe that the current vice president, J.D. Vance, was elected, and I'm not so sure of that. And that's an admission of my lack of knowledge. But I can tell you what I am thinking of is I think that JFK Jr. is going to be um, confirmed as the vice president very soon. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, I'm a human, and I've been making mistakes for 76 years. But I don't think I'm making a mistake now. I think JFK Jr. has been intended to become powerful in the government of the United States of America for a long time, including that night when his airplane supposedly crashed in the ocean near Martha's Vineyard. And supposedly he, his wife, and his sister-in-law died in that crash. Well, the crash occurred, but none of those three people were in the aircraft, and there was nobody else in the aircraft because the U.S. Navy SEAL that jumped out of the airplane before he allowed it to crash in the ocean. We live in a very blessed nation. And when we, as Americans, have been blessed, I believe it's the obligation of those of us who believe in God to bless God back with loyalty and gifts and kindness. So I'm going to stop there and say, Jenny, what was the question I was asked? Because I've already forgotten.
I'll let Grace go ahead. Grace, you can ask it again. Go ahead, Grace.
No, you did a great job, Phil. The question was, do you feel, and I'm sorry, I sound a little off. I've had a little bit of a head cold, but I've spoken to you several times and I'm always honored, and Jenny, you as well. But my question, Phil, you did answer. It was, do you feel like President Trump and the White Hats are unraveling all of the corporate entities and federalization of our entities and returning them back to the Republic in all of these celebrations and the guise of a celebration yesterday with the Navy? I feel like it's more than celebrating the Navy. I feel like it's returning the Navy to our republic. And I just wanted your thoughts. And you gave them, you said that you thought he was. So thank you for that. And God bless you.
Oh, thank you
Did
very
you
much
have,
for your kind words.
oh, I'm sorry, Phil.
God has blessed me abundantly. Thank you.
Did you have a second one? I think you said, Grace, go ahead.
I did, and thank you. I'll make it quick because I like to respect others. I don't want to get bogged down in this. I try not to, but I just like other people's opinions, and we're all trying to figure out this psyop we're living in and the art of war we're trudging through. And Jenny, your words are so spot on and so right that that's what we are in, the art of war and the fog of war, and it's very it's mine. It's a mind twist. I could use another word, Field's favorite word, but I'll just say it's a mind twist. But
Oh,
with that being
oh,
said,
are you
Erica, go ahead.
are you suggesting the initials TF?
No, never.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, mind twist then. Yeah.
Yes, it's a mind
Well,
twist. Yes. But do you believe, there's so much out there. I just don't know what to believe. I don't believe we know everything about Charlie Kirk's assassination or so-called assassination. I think there's way more to all of that, just like 9/11, just like JFK's assassination. There's so much to it, but there's rumors of Erica Kirk possibly being a honeypot and that her parents were involved in Israeli and nefarious, like her dad worked with the Iron Dome technology and AI. I just want your take on what do you really feel is going on there with Erica? Because I'm only going to say this, and please, everybody listening, please don't be offended. I've been married to my husband for quite a while. We have 4 boys who I adore and love, and so does my husband. If my husband were, and I understand the nature of the belly of a beast rising up and the fierce lion and a mother and a wife, but if my husband had just been assassinated, it would be hard with these smiles I see and the carrying on, and not being home with the children. I don't know. I know that's not very kind, and God only knows the real answers, but I just feel like there's more to her and what she represents really. Is she an Israeli agent? I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know that we'll ever know. Maybe we will, but anyhow, I just wanted your thoughts on that field.
thank you very much for asking, but I cannot even begin to answer that and I don't mind. I actually like it when I get a question I can't answer, but I don't know much about Charlie Kirk's widow. Uh, I didn't know until you just spoke certain words that she has a background that involves Israel or at least Judaism. But I I I love it when I get a question I can't answer, and this is one of those questions. But what I can say is there's some interesting conflicts in the official story of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Conflict number one was he really assassinated? I don't even know I don't know that truth. And so if I don't know that, I really can't go further in trying to answer something I don't know. And I know a lot of stuff. I think I know as much as any human that's honest about 9/11. And I knew it on the morning of 9/11, and at approximately noon on the morning of 9/11, which of course could be considered afternoon, except for it's not afternoon, it's noon. Uh, I knew what technology had just been demonstrated, and it's technology called the Boeing uninterruptible autopilot. And how did I know that? I knew it for sure because God has been leading me by the hand since he asked me on February 1st of 1994 to give up my old self and become my new self, which I've attempted to do. Uh, and I'm being distracted a little bit because I can hear somebody outside mowing my lawn, which happens every week. That's a blessing from God that um, I can. I have hay fever, and so I don't like to get out where the allergens are, if that's the right word. Um, and I'm sort of blessed by God that I can pay a young man he's 15 years old, and his father is a master mechanic, and they're neighbors of mine. In fact, our properties share a common boundary. But I as far as Charlie Kirk and his wife, I'm sort of lost in the fog of misinformation or disinformation or just outright untruth. And so I would like to pass your question to Jenny. Jenny, do you have an answer for this lady?
So there, Grace, you're not being rude, or that's not rude at all. Question everything, right? We're told to do that. And there's a lot of anomalies, a lot of things that don't add up. So, yes, very, very questionable. And through my research, again, for me, I'm staying neutral on it just because, was he or was he not really assassinated? And if he was, we know he's with our Lord in heaven, and, I want to be sensitive to the family. But if he wasn't, regardless, there's a lot of questions, right? So if you do the deep dives and kind of follow the money, right? You follow a lot of the money with the TPUSA, the security, his donors, they all tie back to Netanyahu. So I think Charlie was getting too close to the truth, talking too much about it, and kind of going against it, Israel, the government, and they didn't like that. So if in fact he was assassinated, I do believe that, that was probably why. But yes, there are a lot of questions when it comes to the wife and the parents for sure. So yeah, it's all true what you're saying about the Iron Dome and her. I think her mom was part of the DOJ. Yeah, it's again, here's this mind twist, everybody. So if it doesn't resonate with you, and whatever you guys research, don't take it, right? If it doesn't resonate, don't take it. Um, I know Candace Owens is out there. I've always sat on the fence about her and Charlie because I knew they were part of the WEF, up and coming World Economic Forum. That's Klaus Schwab, right? So I listened to Charlie and everything, and I liked his message of God and faith, family and country, all of that stuff. But I just was seeing some ties to Netanyahu in Israel, right? The government over there, and I didn't like it. So it never was one that was a consistent follower of him, nor Candace Owens, nor Crenshaw. Now we got stuff coming out about Dan Crenshaw being a warmonger and all this stuff. So I say question everybody, everything, everybody. I mean, just again, like I take the research, and if I question it, I don't take it as okay, this is my truth, and this is what I've researched right now. Is it my opinion when I deliver to all of you guys? Yes. And again, only God knows the truth, right? So there is a lot of questions, just like there is about a lot of people out there. And yes, we are going to find out the truth some way, somehow, sometime. But yeah, I have a lot of questions when it comes to Charlie Kirk, and especially when you hear Candace Owens. She's talking a lot about it. She's asking the questions. But I just think she's just not, I think she's just kind of going a little bit too, I don't know, I think she can do it in a different way, right? But again, I've never been and if you do research on Candace Owens and you deep into her husband, there's some nefarious ties there too. So again, to me, if they have nefarious ties tied to them, then I stand back a little bit and I question it, right? So I definitely say, Grace, question all you want, because things don't make sense over there, and they certainly don't add up.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And thank you, Field. I agree, Jenny, with what you just said. It's just nice to talk to somebody who you don't feel like you are crazy, because I've researched Candace Owens' husband. I know he has very nefarious ties. Also, TP USA has lots of money that goes back to the Israeli government. It's just all such a, like I said, a mind twist, but with Field's favorite words stuck in there with everybody. Just thank you for all you do, Jenny. You're a breath of fresh air. I'd really bless you and appreciate you, and then you as well, Field. God bless you both.
Thank you, thank you, Grace. And you know what? I mean, you're right. So, the whole money situation and the nefarious ties. Like, so if you're researching people and they have nefarious ties, just like the whole Palantir stuff, people are freaking out about that. They're giving you this false narrative that, oh, Trump again is with them, and no, he puts people here in the forefront so you guys can see them. Hello, here we are. Now you got to go do your research, and if you do research on all three of those guys he brought to the forefront, there's nefarious ties to him. So everybody, there's a reason. Again, there's a reason to all the madness. But we are being made to do the research. We've got to find this research out ourselves, because we are the news now, everybody. The news isn't the news. It never was the news. It was all lies. There was that, I think it was an executive order or something that Obama did, where they were able to lie to us and put out all the propaganda to the American people. So you're on the right track, Grace. So keep doing what you're doing, my friend, because you definitely are on the right track with that one, for sure. All
Hey,
right,
Jenny, can I talk to Grace?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Grace, first of all, you should have fond memories of your mother and father for giving you such a strong name as Grace. Grace is something that is bestowed upon us as a nation by God. And so I think you have a lovely name. And I think Jenny is absolutely right in what she said. We are involved in a war, but God, in his benevolence, has established a mighty force of warriors in the United States of America, both male and female. And our nation's very secure, in my estimation. But if my estimation is correct or false, we'll find out over time. But in the meantime, thank you for attending to Jenny's show today and for asking those mind twisting questions, because that's why we are here. And that's what I believe Jenny's mission in life is. And I believe that that's my mission in life too. And I like to contribute to the common knowledge of the American citizens who are willing to listen to experience. And I'm going to say that Jenny's got the experience and I've got the mileage. And together, she and I intend to help bring people along in faith, in confidence, and in love. and might I say, respect. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. Thank you, Grace. All right, Truth Teller Tales. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Hey, how are you both? This is such an honor, Field. I have been listening to you with Jenny here for a long time, and I felt now was a good time for me to actually call in. So I started a podcast. I got a really strong tap on the shoulder, a God tap, I think, months ago to start a podcast where I'm actually interviewing the truth tellers because we're living in unprecedented times, as everybody here knows, and people are going to be studied. The truth tellers are going to be studied here. Um, for psychologically as to how they actually could see the truth and wanted to tell the truth. And while most people walked around and had no idea any of this was happening. So I've started a channel. I have about 24 interviews now of folks telling their life stories, the truth tellers. And it's been fascinating and an honor for me. And I would, of course, would be heaven to be able to interview each of you, Field and Jenny, separately. And I thought it was good timing because I have an interview coming out tomorrow with Major General Paul Vallely, who was in charge of special operations and psychological civil military operations for the Army and the Pentagon. And he's very optimistic, Field, like you, in what's coming. And so it was very reassuring. So I first wanted to tell you that he really was a straight shooter like you too, and really aligned with a lot of things you were saying. So I first wanted to tell you that, and tell you that I would really love for you and Jenny separately to be able to come and tell your stories.
Well, can I address that, Jenny?
Go ahead, Field.
Yeah, if Jenny will allow me to be interviewed by you, you can interview me anytime.
Mhm.
And but see, I have a very close relationship. I'm not talking about personal. I've never met Jenny, but I'm talking about intellectual and emotional relationship with Jenny because I like what she does. I know what she does, and I really admire her accuracy. But the answer from Field to you is yes, you can interview me anytime that it doesn't offend Jenny. Okay,
Mhm.
over to you, Jenny.
Oh no, it's okay, Field. It doesn't offend me. I'll have to do some research into it because I don't know anything about this podcast. So you know, I
Yeah,
gotta you know me, I gotta do my research. So
I
I appreciate you coming up here, Truth Teller.
Yes,
Thank you.
I did have a question, and I have emailed you a couple times, and I know that does things for you too. So you could check it out and see all the people I've talked to. But the other thing that was interesting timing, I was watching an older documentary about 9/11 and how all the phone calls, the cell phone calls supposedly happened, and up at the height that they were, it would have been impossible, which kind of went along with Field's. Um, idea and knowledge, should I say, that those planes were diverted and not up high in the sky. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts again on that.
Okay, are you asking Field? That's me. Are you
Yes.
asking me about cell phone calls on 9/11?
Yeah, and I remember you saying, I've heard you before saying, that you knew that those planes had been diverted. And so if those so it comes it those phone calls that were made, if they happened because the people were on the ground. They were not in the sky, and maybe were told that they had to make these phone calls. I don't know, but it goes along with you always saying that those planes had been diverted.
Well, you're confusing me a little bit about saying the aircraft have been diverted. First of all, which aircraft are you talking about? And secondly, from where were they diverted? And I'm not trying to punish you. I'm just
No,
trying to answer your question. Go ahead.
I always remember you saying that those planes that were going into the trade towers were diverted, and the people were taken care of one way or another. I always remember you saying that.
Well,
So
you
there was
remember me
never
correctly.
there
Go
There
ahead.
was never any planes. Go ahead, Field.
Oh no, there were planes, but they were not airliners. They were, if there were any aircraft flying at all on 9/11 and threatening buildings in New York City, they would have been drones, which means full-scale aircraft that have no human pilots and no human passengers. And, I'll go anywhere in the world at my own expense and argue with anybody. And when I say argue, I don't mean adversarially, I mean academically. You know, there's nobody in the world that can defeat me on 9/11
Yeah.
because I knew it. Well, I feel very strongly about that. I knew on the morning of 9/11 what we experienced. What we experienced was drones, which are remotely controlled aircraft attacking buildings. And that doesn't mean that it couldn't have been all CGI, computer generated imagery. We've all been TF'd, and I'm not going to say what TF stands for. The T stands for trick. Yeah, there's been a lot of tricks in the promulgation of information to put in the collective minds of the United States and world citizens of what the people that did 9/11 would like us to think of it. But God didn't ask me to be a dummy. He asked me to be somewhat well experienced to see what was going on 9/11. And so on the morning of 9/11, I was on the internet telling the truth about what I knew to be the case. And what I knew to be the case was the aircraft, most specifically, and most, I would say, most personally important to me was the fact that American 77 did not hit the Pentagon. And the reason I say that's important to me is the guy that was the captain of Flight 77 was Francis Charles, or Chick, C-H-I-C, and I like chicks, C-H-I-C-K-S, but I'm a little bit old for that now, so I'll get back on the narrative. Yeah, Chick Burlingame and American 77 never hit the Pentagon. American 77 flew over the Pentagon about 45 minutes prior to the event. And when I say event, I'm talking about what penetrated the outer wall of the Pentagon. And what it was a Maverick missile, which is a bunker buster missile that can blow up cement. And 3 seconds or 3 frames of an audio visual camera, and the tape of the camera was collected by the FBI shortly after the event. But and a Raytheon, and that's a private corporation, not to besmirch corporations, but yeah, okay, I guess I'm besmirching Raytheon. Raytheon. A Raytheon owned Navy A3 Skywarrior is the flying vehicle that penetrated the outer wall of Wedge 1 of the Pentagon, and it went into the office of the Navy Command Center, and it was very, very skillfully guided into the intended target. And yet people would say, well, I mean, first of all, Americans that listen to the mainstream media, as it pertains to 9/11 and 9/11 only, they're really misled. A Boeing 757 could not have flown that profile, and a Boeing 757 could not have penetrated that hole in the Pentagon without leaving its wings, its tail, which is called an empennage, its wings, its tail, and its engines outside 9/11. And yet on the morning of 9/11, there were none of those things found outside the entry wound. And so people would say, well, how could those parts not go into the Pentagon without, leaving entry wounds? Well, they could not. I mean, that's impossible. But a lot of people don't have the background in aviation to understand these things. It's quite simple for me because I flew airplanes for 38 years or more. I don't even remember because I'm getting so old I can't remember what I did yesterday. But I know what I witnessed on 9/11. And what I witnessed on 9/11 was a psyop where they tried to convince us that these aircraft have hit World Trade 1, World Trade 2, World Trade 7. First of all, nothing hit World Trade 7. Uh, and, we've been lied to. But the liars are on the other side of this argument. Jenny's show and her guests that speak are not liars. They're people that know what's going on and they want to share that with the public. And so the aircraft that penetrated, I like that verb, by the way. Jenny, does that make me a bad person that I like the word penetrate?
No, Field.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I haven't penetrated anything for quite a while. My wife died 5 years ago. So anyway, um, the myth of 9/11, I can put an end to that in any courtroom of any legitimate court now that we're under the Republic of the United States governance, and our courts are now responsible and subject to the truth. And the truth is 9/11 was a psyop. They did do stuff on 9/11. A couple of things hit a couple of towers in New York, and American 77 was alleged to have penetrated, I like that verb, the Pentagon on 9/11, but it didn't. The flying object that hit the Pentagon was a Raytheon Corporation owned A3 Skywarrior. And before it hit the Pentagon wall, it fired a Maverick air-to-ground missile that was a bunker buster, and it blew a hole in there. And then 3 seconds before the remains of the aircraft, and I'm going to repeat that, the remains of the aircraft penetrated, through the same opening. The aircraft itself was demolished by SMAC, and I'm going to spell that so people can look it up. SMACSONIC. The aircraft was demolished by a SMAC explosion, which was conducted by the insulation of that particular aircraft, and it vaporized it. And what vaporized means, and I can't even spell it, academician, meaning smart guy. But I'm not smart, I'm just experienced. And so when that aircraft, the A3 Skywarrior, was reduced to plasma, which is the lowest, I think it's the lowest form of plasma, meaning there's basically no substance to it. The engines, the fuselage, the tail, it was all turned to plasma, and that entered the hole in the Pentagon, and that's why there's no entry scars or wounds from the wings, the engines, the tail, and nothing was found outside the Pentagon. But guess what was found inside the Pentagon? And before you start raising your hands to guess, let me just tell you 4 items: a straight refueling probe, and Boeing 757s do not have refueling probes, and a plexiglass window that's called like an eyelid window over the pilot seat of the A3 Skywarrior. That plexiglass survived the explosion, as did a turbine wheel from one of the engines, which was not a turbine wheel from a 757, but rather an A3 Skywarrior. And a rectangular fuselage section. And if people were to go back and find videotapes of the news of 9/11, you would see a large object being carried with a blue tarpaulin over it, so it could not be seen. And it was being carried by members of the military. And what it was a rectangular fuselage section. And Boeing 757s have round fuselages, not rectangular. But A3 Skywarriors have rectangular fuselages. So the people that planned 9/11 didn't do a good job. And if I was colorful right now, I'd use colorful language to make them feel even more ashamed of themselves, or maybe in this case, more what is the word? They should be the people who planned and committed 9/11 were not among the best and the brightest of the minds in the United States of America. They made a lot of mistakes, and their mistakes may result in their being delivered justice through the courts in what is now the Republic of the United States of America. Excuse me. I'm being
Amen.
distracted by a lawn. Yeah, I'm being distracted by a lawnmower going around my office. But
You're good. You're good.
oh, good. Yeah, my logic is good, I hope. My knowledge, I know, is good. And my knowledge, I got the hard way by living the experience. And how did I do that? Well, I didn't do it. God did. He took me by the hand and he led me on the path he wanted me to follow so that I could learn a lot of the truth that the United States of America and our citizens need to know, as well as the rest of the world, because 9/11 impacted much of the rest of the world with fake wars. And war is war, it's not fake. But the reason for a war has often been faked, and such is the case on 9/11 and the multiple wars in the desert over there in the Mideast. And I'm very pro-military, but I'm extremely and adamantly opposed to war. I don't like war. Anyway, over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. And yes, everybody, we know these are all unnecessary wars that we have. They're all money grabs, right? So, and I think everybody, you just need to be prepared because we are going to come into some bumpy things. We've been hearing that we could hear something 9/11 and worse. So have that in the back of your mind. You know me, I'm not about the fear. It's about just to pay attention. It could not, it may not happen. We don't know. But again, just always head on a swivel, everybody. And with that, guys, Field is here with us for 90 minutes. We're right there. And he's here with us every Monday, same time, same place. Great show today, Field, as always. We're going to see you next Monday.
Yes, you will. I mean, if I'm invited, I will be there. And I respect you greatly, Jenny. And I really respect the intellectual capacity of your chat room. And so I enjoy the stimulation of their questions.
Well, everybody loves you here, Field, and everybody. When it comes to Field, like Field can talk to anybody. I don't care. But as we all know, and as you guys know, I always look into people and things because there are so many people out there that are just trying to be relevant, right? And I unfortunately do have people that submit me fake stories just so they can get on my podcast. I'm not about that. You guys know I'm not about that. So if I can help look into people that want to talk to Fields, or if I think it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll give him my opinion. But at the end of the day, Fields a grown adult. He makes his own decisions, but I do want to direct him in the right direction because I'm not gonna set him up with somebody that's just full of shit, right? So, and I'm not saying that's you, Truth Teller Tales here. I'm just saying, give me some time to look into everything, and then because unfortunately, and I'm sure you get the shysters as well, but it's every podcaster out there. We do get the fakesters that like to pretend like they're us and say that they're us and try to ask you for money. No, that's not me, everybody. So just know that. Block and report any individuals that try to reach out to you and ask you for money, or if you're ready for the scare event. So with that, everybody, Derek Johnson is going to be on with us today. He's with us every 2 weeks, but we have moved up. I have moved up his show today. Typically, he is 6:30 Central Standard Time. He's going to be at 4:30 Central Standard Time today. So we moved him up 2 hours. So come back and see us over here on Telegram for Derek Real Raw Talk with Derek Johnson. He's honored, everybody. Everything he's been telling us, it is coming to fruition. It is out there. He is showing us. He's already explained it to us. Now he's showing you the proof. He's coinciding it with whether it be Trump's posts or things that are happening. He is getting some vindication. So I'm really excited for Derek, because Derek has been dragged through the mud several times, and I think still is, and people just still are not getting it, everybody. But come back and listen to Derek because he's got a lot of great information. And with that, Field, we love you. God bless you. We'll talk to you. I'll talk to you on the backside of this, and then everybody here, we'll see you next Monday.
Okay, that sounds good, Jenny. Thank you, and God bless you. And just so your people know, God has blessed me abundantly. And, I'm very thankful to God, and therefore I'm submissive to God. I'll talk to you next Monday.
Amen. Thank you, Field. I'll text you on the backside of this. But God bless everybody. We'll see you in a couple hours for Derek Johnson. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.